What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Cookie DAO today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. Here we are at about 21.18 cents right now. If we look at this thing from an overall high to low here, we are wrestling between the 382 and the 236, getting a little bit below the 236, living a little bit below the 382. It's a little bit unconventional, but I think it's okay. Once we do get above the 382, once we get above about 27.5 cents there, we will likely rip, see a very immediate relief, kind of sigh of relief, breath of relief. That'll take us up to 42 cents, 48 cents, and ultimately prepare us for higher targets, right? Stuff like that. That's the path ahead, and I think, I mean, it could start over the next 8 hours. By the end of today, it might take another week, but I'm assuming very soon. This very well likely will be the week. We have 8 hours 37 minutes left in this week. I think next week will be the week that we do have a rather substantial retracement, if not even more substantial than what I'm expecting. Really, what I'm calling for is a 100% move over this next week, if not more. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, right? We've been involved in this thing for a little bit now. It's been a few weeks, I think. Maybe it was back over here that I made my first. Well, I mean, I made my first purchase technically. Let's see, all the way. It was it here? It was on one of it. It was at 23 cents, I thought. So it must have been on this day that we dropped. Then I must have bought it, or maybe it was on this day that we moved up. Either way, it had. I think it was February 10th. Anyways, enough about me. Looking at the daily RSI here, looking very bullish, looking very productive as of the moment. You have broken out of your downtrend in the RSI on the daily time frame. Hit the oversold zone. Now you're above the 50. You're getting a couple movements above the 50. I would expect that you don't stop. At the very least, you don't get oversold until you get overbought. This does not mean that this is the low, right? We still have some confirmation to go through before we validate that this is the low. I want to be just very blunt and say that I'm confident. I'm of the utmost confident that that is the low, and we'll talk about that in a second as well. I've talked about it throughout the weeks, but I'm very confident that that is the low. Once we get above the 382, it's even more confidence. Once we get above the golden ratio, it's very confident. But ultimately, you know, what it's going to take is probably getting above the 886 here, getting above like 68, 69 cents, and then just pushing on to new highs, right? That'll be the most obvious dagger in the heart right there. But I'd be very, very excited once we get above 42 cents, okay? Beyond all of these simple line levels, price action areas that we're looking for to validate it, here in this relative retracement range, if we look at this thing on a weekly time frame, it seems very apparent to me that what we've done is we found immaculate support, just like straight up immaculate support right here at these prior areas of resistance, your prior all-time high areas. You broke out, you pulled back and found support right at this area. It's perfect. It's literally beautiful. Structurally speaking, this thing is mouth-watering. It makes me want to just go all in, and that's why I have to hold myself back. I have to show some restraint, but I really do expect a lot of good things to come out of Cookie DAO, guys. I think from a price action perspective and just from a overall productive perspective too, on a fundamental basis. Here we are closing right below the 382 and then getting right back above it, holding like this. This is normally a very positive sign that you are, in fact, not just going to go lower, but you're going to, or it's a positive sign that you are you're not going lower. It's a sign that you're not going lower. I don't know how I phrase it, but I feel like it almost sounded like it's a positive sign that says you're not only are you going lower, but you're going to go higher. So I had to rephrase that, but it's a very positive sign that you're likely going to go higher. I'm sorry if I'm not making that much sense. Words can be confusing. I want to try to be clear, and sometimes I know what I'm saying, but other people don't know what I'm saying. I very much expect that not only will we move up from here, but we will see new all-time highs. If we look at the all-time highs, the current all-time highs to this low, this relative low of immaculate support right back here, I would expect that the next target area is somewhere between about $1.38 to $2.58, somewhere in that zone. If we take this previous all-time high from the first like couple days that you existed to this low point here, your all-time low, you went all the way up through your 1414, reaching for the 1618, but you couldn't quite get there. Normally that's not the case. Normally you do hit the 1618, but I think it's because it's such a quote-unquote obvious level that might have been why you didn't reach that zone. But who really knows? You know, there's just too much selling pressure to allow you to get there. Not enough buying pressure, however you want to phrase it. But still very close to the 1618. If we do something like that, we would be above $2 and probably very close to 260 by the time this move's done. And who's to say that we can't go higher? You know, we absolutely could go higher. This last move here from an overall low here, come on now, to an overall high here, this was Binance buying, right? That was a 42x. Binance listed the coin at the very top. The day that cookie topped, that's when Binance listed it. Binance, why is that a big deal? They're the biggest crypto exchange in the world. It's a very big entity buying your crypto. And I think if they listed it here, my assumption would be they are the primary reason why, yes, this thing pumped, right? Anybody and everybody who is aware that Binance was buying it, and it's probably not the public, but just people on the inside, they were probably adding to that too, right? The people who are on the inside that know about this stuff, if they're in cahoots with Binance, or they're at least aware, they've got the inside scoop, they're probably very, very wealthy figures. So you've got Binance and you've got other players involved that are just sending this thing through the roof. And then, of course, once Binance lists it, there's no more buying pressure. Now there's just buying pressure from the retail, and they're buying at the highs. Who's selling it now? The people that bought here, the smart money, the institutions, the insiders, and of course Binance. They're selling it to you. I very much would expect that this next move would see something rather similar in overall robustness. I just don't know if it's going to be as big, right? I do think that it'll be fast. I think it's going to be a fast move, but from the low here to that golden ratio, that's only an 18x. I say only. It's almost a 19x to be fair. But in comparison to this move here, it's a lot smaller. Of course, the market cap is higher. Of course, it's harder to move things up with the same amount of money if you have higher market caps. I understand all of that, but you also have another big catalyst coming in right now that was announced last week, which is that Coinbase, or maybe it was this week, I forget, but Coinbase has a roadmap to list Cookie DAO. And they don't normally tell you this kind of stuff until it's like the day before, the day of, or after the prices are all the way up high. It's kind of weird. It's kind of different, but it's very let's just say underplayed. People aren't talking about it, which is odd. The fact even that I get like less than 1,000 views on these videos is odd. I'm not complaining. Like that's cool, but it's kind of odd to me that there's such a massive opportunity here with genuinely, like, your minimum target, guys, from the low would be a 10x overall. From the current price, that's a 6.3x overall. That's your minimum target. Like, no way in hell could I imagine that you stop there, other than the fact that it's your minimum target, right? But I very much would believe, especially looking at the last extension, you would go above the 1414 and potentially even reach for this 1618, which from here, from the current price, that gives you an almost 12x. That at the 1414, that's an 8, almost a 9x, 8.5x right there. You know what I mean? So, and you're likely going to go through that. This is likely going to happen as well over the next month, if not next month and a half or 2 months, something like that. It's a very, very short amount of time to see this amount of growth. And of course, you could go higher, right? We're focusing on this 42x, 18x. What if you saw 30x? What if it's just a little bit smaller, right? Again, if you've got Coinbase buying, there are other people involved that are aware of this, that might hop in on the fun. And even though it's the second biggest exchange, it's not the largest exchange, you could see a very equivalent, or at least something that is somewhat significantly similar to this. It might not be as small as an 18x. It might be more like a 20x. It could be a 30 something x. Maybe you get something larger than a 40x, but I very much doubt that personally. I don't think this next move would be bigger, but it is coming from a very strong area of support, and who knows, anything could happen. Like, genuinely, guys, anything can happen. We could see some crazy growth in a very short amount of time. Don't tell me we can't. We've already seen it before. It can happen again. But I certainly don't expect this next move to be as big as this. About half as big, maybe a quarter as big overall. That makes sense. And if that makes sense to you, the same way it makes sense to me, half as big is just above the golden ratio. A quarter as big is right here at the 1272. So something between $1.37, let's say $1.38 to $2 and maybe even like $3.30. What would a 20x be? It'd be just below $3, about $2.80, somewhere in there. I don't think I have anything else that I want to say, other than I very much do expect that Cookie DAO is on its way up. I don't know if it starts moving up today. That'd be great if it did, but I assume this next week is going to be rather productive. I am calling for 100% move up over this next week. I don't normally give like specific percentages like that, but we'll see. 22.2 cents now. Losing volume here, yeah, on Bybit too. It's a very big exchange, probably the biggest exchange other than Binance that holds this thing. Let's look at the tethers too. Yeah, same thing, losing volume. Whenever you're in a consolidation phase, you know you're about to break out one way or the other when your volume is at its lowest points, or at some of its lowest points at least. I very much do believe we're going to break out of this consolidation phase to the upside. If we're breaking out of this consolidation phase to the upside, we're breaking out of this consolidation phase to the upside, right? And if we're breaking out of that from a high to a low, I mean, this last move only took a day to get to this consolidation phase from the last one, but I think it'll take a few days on this one. I don't think it'll just be a one-day attempt, but we're going to go up to 35 cents to 43 cents. We're at 22.2 cents now. When we were at 21 cents at the beginning of this video, a 42.8 cent price would have been a 100% move. And I very much would expect that we stop here at the 1618 or very near there, because we have resistance and support, right? Support over here, resistance right here. And I would very much expect that we do find resistance there. If not, we're going to make our way all the way up to 50 cents, 53 cents. I doubt that we just see a straight run up like that. I would expect that we find some turbulence at least along the way, but you never know. This thing could definitely rip. It can be very sporadic, especially with exchanges buying it up. Things don't have to make sense. You can literally defy gravity with something like this. So I'm not selling a single drop until we are at the next area, the next selling area, which would at least be at about $1.40, if not higher. That's all I got for you guys. If you liked the video, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.